webinar on HR and analytics, the game changer for aspiring CHROs. We are excited to have you all with us, and I hope you are looking forward for an insightful session. As the workplace evolves, HR professionals are facing new challenges and opportunities. So today's webinar is designed to help us understand how strategic HR and analytics can equip HR leaders to drive meaningful impact in their organization. I am Pratish Mandal from VCnow, and it's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Professor Jatinder Jha. Professor Jha is a distinguished HR expert and academician with extensive experience in strategic human resource management, talent analytics, and organizational development. As a senior faculty member at XLRi, he has played a critical role in shaping the HR curriculum and is recognized for his contribution to human capital research. Professor Jha's work, published widely in national and international journals, has had a transformative impact on HR practices in organizations. In today's session, Professor Jha will share his valuable insights on the role of HR leaders in the digital age, focusing on how data-driven strategies can empower HR professionals to lead with impact and influence. Before we begin, I would like to remind everyone that we will have a Q&A session towards the end of the webinar. So please feel free to note down your questions as the session progresses. So without further ado, let me hand it over to Professor Jha to take us through his address on strategic HR and analytics. Professor Jha, over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pratesh, for the kind introduction. And thank you all the participants who have attended and who are still going to join the webinar. So before I begin the session, if we see the title of the session is about what it takes to become emerging CHROs in the current business context. And there are broadly two themes that I would be introducing briefly. The relevance and the importance that can make HR professionals and transform the HR professionals into a CHRO role. So now the question is the two components or the two themes or the two competencies, I will say. So the first is the strategic orientation and the second is the data analytics. These two are the major themes. So I won't say these two are the different themes. Let me first explain the difference between human resource management and strategic human resource management. As many of us, when I interact with the HR professionals, they always say, sir, we are also a part of a strategic meet. We are also part of a strategic planning. Then how human resource management is different from a strategic human resource management? So let me exemplify this with one a small example. So there is a term which is widely used in the organization called human capital. And many organizations use the term human capital strategy. And there are organizations who are using the term human resource strategy. So all these are same, similar, or different. So from my opinion, my research and experience, all these terms are different, how they are different. The word capital has been taken from, metaphorically, from finance. Capital means today you are investing in the anticipation that in coming year, you will gain some benefit out of it, which means you will get a return on the investment. So now, who are those organizations who are using the term human capital, and who are those organizations who are using the term human resources? So the organizations who consider human resource as a source of investment, not as a expenditure. So many organizations, if you see philosophically and otherwise, many top leaders many a time say human resource management department is a cost center for us. And whenever they are going for cost optimization, the one of the department that actually gets the maximum heat of those cost cutting initiatives, it is a human resource department, which is quite unfortunate. So let me just explain you the organizations, depending upon their business model, depending upon the industry where they are operating, they actually choose whether I should consider human resource as a human capital, or I should consider my human resource as a resources to achieve the business goal. So now, which means I am taking you to the discussion, is this something philosophical? The answer is yes. And that is called organizational philosophy. Which means if I'm working for organization A, policy may remain same, but the intent behind the policy will be different. Then who decides this? Why certain set of employees in a same industry or maybe in the same role across the industry, they are getting different benefits, different treatment, different kind of support from the organization, versus there are organizations who are simply using human resource, using their exploitative strategies to get the maximum of their effort to fulfill the business and departmental goals. So the moral of the story is, who decides this? That is called HR philosophy. So therefore, when you are aspiring to become a CHRO, or maybe you have spent 10-15 years in the organization, please pause for a moment and ask one question. Are you working for an organization that consider human being as a resources or human being as a capital? Unless your top management philosophy, your organizational philosophy, your HR philosophy is not clear on this parameter, no strategic orientation can be developed. So it would be like that I have trained you into a very advanced, the concepts, the practices and policies of HR, and suddenly your organization is something that consider employee as a resource. So let me give you the example how organization treat employee as a resource, how organization treat employee as a capital. So I work for one industry in Gujarat that is called diamond cut and polish industry. I work in various manufacturing organization, various banking organization, various public sector and private organization as a consultant, as a trainer, and different roles. So let me give you the brief introduction of my experience there, which will exemplify what is the difference between human capital and human resource as a philosophy. Diamond industry worker who is a school dropout, has never taken any formal education, is getting the salary, and you will be surprised to know this, in the range of 50,000 to 5 lakh rupees per month. Same person who has gone through ITI, which is the formal education in technical domain, after 10th, I think it is done. And then they are joining, let's say, another manufacturing company called, let's say, some steel making company, cement making company. Their salary will be in the range of minimum wages plus some extra allowances, let's say around 25, 30,000, 35,000, or maybe minimum, let's say 20,000, 25,000. Now the question is, worker is same. In one case one, the if you see, the qualification is not there, formal education is not there. In second case, the same employee who has some formal education, though it is very minimum, called ITI, industrial training certificate after 10th, and their salary is very low. So now, if you see these two set of people, when they join the organization, their individual impact on the business of the organization is entirely different, and hence the way they are being treated at the workplace is different. How it is different? Let's say there are two workers in the diamond industry. A rough diamond is given to them, and organization say, okay, minimum I want let's say 50 lakh rupees of finished good from this rough diamond. Both workers are taking that rough diamond and they are examining that rough diamond. After examination, they come and then say, sir, maximum I can give you 40 lakh rupees. And another worker says, I can give you 60 lakh rupees. Diamond is given to the one, that worker who is going to give them more value. Now, if you see the overall business model in this industry, same rough diamond, same raw material, but why value is different in both cases? So the answer is the value of the final finished good is the function of capability, competency, knowledge, tacit knowledge that is inherent and internal to the employee. It is not given by the organization. It is what you say different, which means my worker in a diamond industry is directly influencing the business and revenue of the organization, and therefore the worker is considered as a strategic asset or human capital, versus same worker who is joining, let's say, some other manufacturing company. He or she will be part of an assembly line, which is a SOP driven work, which means they have to follow the instruction and their contribution is minimal in the bottom line of the organization. Which means if I compare these two set of employees in the same category, why one is valued more as a strategic asset, why other is considered just as a resource on the assembly line, the litmus test is, are you able to influence the business of the organization? And that is the definition of strategic human resource management. Strategic human resource management says, if you can exemplify impact of human resources on the business, then you can say that your organization is following strategic approach of HR, not a human resource, that is called the traditional approach. So what is the traditional approach? I think no need to explain much, like maintaining the recruitment file, maintaining the personal appraisal file, maintaining the compensation, and maintaining the attendance, legal compliances and all. So now question is, how to identify the employees who are the human capital for the organization and who are the resources. So now the question is, can we say all the employees who are working for me are the human capital? Answer is no. Roles are different, levels are different, responsibilities are different, their impact are different. But can we say none of employees is a strategic asset in my organization, therefore I should follow the exploitative or the traditional HR policies? Again, answer is no. What about those people? Even 1% of the people are having 100% impact on your bottom line. If you are not treating them differently like a strategic asset in terms of compensation, appraisal, treatment, promotion, career opportunity, development opportunity, in that case, those people, those who are actual the strategic assets of the organization, they won't stay with you. So therefore, who decides who are my strategic assets? Who decides who are my only resources? Then what should be the policies? What should be the practices? How to create those whole HRM system? I always say, if you want to test whether your organization is a strategic HR oriented organization or it is just a managing human resources through policies and practices, there is one test for that. So the question is, do you have HRM system? So many of you would be wondering, like, what is the meaning of HRM system? Let's say laptop is a system, mobile phone is a system. So why I am calling mobile is a system? So if I press or I command any instruction, I get the same result. Every time I am giving the same instruction, getting the same output, which means all the components of my mobile phones are interconnected with each other. So let's use this metaphor to understand HRM system, which is called the strategic approach of HR. So now I'm saying, what are the elements of HR? You have a manpower planning, you have a performance management system, you have a compensation and benefits, you have a career management, you have various career development opportunities, then finally you have a training and development. Let's say these are the 5-6 components of. Now, many organizations, what I have seen and where I feel that all the young HR and the aspiring HR, those who want to become the CHROs, this mindset has to be developed. And for that, the knowledge should be there. What is HR? What is strategic HR? So now you just pay attention to this part. Now I'm saying you have 6 components of HR and all should be interlinked with each other. If they are not interlinked with each other, then the desired outcome that organization is expecting won't be there commonsensically. If one part of my laptop is not working properly, let's say on the keypad, if one of the letter is not functioning properly, I won't be able to get that output. So therefore, if your recruitment has happened on ABC criteria, compensation and salary and incentive is happening on some different criteria, promotions are happening in a different manner, it is not considering those competency which has been tested in appraisal. So what you will feel? My recruitment team is doing its own job by selecting the people. My comp and band team is only doing the salary fixation part. My training and development is training me into XYZ training, but they are not talking to each other. So how they can do that? Let's say I am a let's say fintech company. It's a startup. As a founder, I have decided that I want to create an innovative workforce. And I want people who have an entrepreneurial spirit. Entrepreneurial spirit means those who can work with limited resources and those who are very resourceful. And even if they don't own any resources which is critical for the execution of the work, they are able to arrange that. That is the definition of an entrepreneurial mindset. Now, I have recruited people by screening on their innovative orientation, their entrepreneurial spirit. But when they have joined, after their joining, when they look at the appraisal form, there is no KRAs, key result areas, that measures your innovativeness. There is no KRA that measures your entrepreneurial spirit. And then in the incentive plan, you are not giving any incentive for someone who is entrepreneurial, which means taking additional responsibility, proactively behaving at workplace, doing the more in a less resources, and giving more feedback to the company to improve the processes. You are not rewarding such behavior, which means you selected people based on different criteria. You are evaluating on different criteria. You are rewarding on different criteria and rewarding different behavior. And finally, training and development is nowhere linked to innovation as a strategy, or let's say what you say, your entrepreneurial mindset as a strategy. So what employee will think? So employee will think in this organization, HR is a reactive. It's not proactive. That is the second major difference between human resource management and strategic human resource. HR is a reactive, then you are a traditional HR. HR is a proactive, who has already decided that I want to create a fintech with the innovative workforce, and therefore all the components of my HRM system, that is recruitment, comp and ben, then training and development, continuous learning, all the processes should aim to give me innovative work culture in the organization. And therefore you will find there are certain organizations who are, whatever from the top is decided in the boardroom, whatever is decided, it is deciphered into various policies, practices, and procedures. So I always say there are 5P approach of HR that you need to check whether you are following HR system or not. What are the 5P? The first, which I said in the beginning of the session, HR philosophy, HR practices, HR procedures, HR policies, HR programs. So HR philosophy. So HCL says employee first. Amazon and other companies says shareholder first. This is the philosophical difference. So commonsensically, Amazon says customer first, HCL says employee first. NTPC says plant load before employees before plant load, which means employee first. So now what the definitions which I have given you, this is basically the reference to their philosophy that they guide the designing the policies and practices. So naturally, if you are joining an organization which says customer first, they will focus more on the customer satisfaction, less on the employee satisfaction. And any organization who says that employee first, then definitely employee is the priority. And therefore, the first parameter to check what is the overall philosophy of the HR, check the HR philosophy. Now, second is your HR policies. Policies are basically different. Like you have a recruitment policy, we will recruit only from, let's say, top colleges for management graduate. We will recruit only for this particular region. These are the policies, hiring policies. We will recruit 40% women, 60% male, whatever is the decision. These are called policies. Similarly for promotion, similarly for compensation and other. HR programs, like HR programs are short-term initiatives of the organizations taken up by the HR department and the organization aim for very specific purpose. So let's say many time organizations say now we have a drive for awareness on ethical conduct, drive for let's say healthy lifestyle, drive for mental health and well-being of the employee, drive for recruiting more women and having more diverse workforce. So these are called HR programs. Then you have a HR practice. So you have a policy that you will promote people after four years or 5 years in the organization. But for the last 5 years, 6 years, you have not promoted anyone based on that. So which means your policy says something and your practices are different. So therefore, in human resource management and especially in the strategic aspect, we carefully examine both what your policy says and what you practice. So that is called HR practice. The last P is called HR procedures. Procedures means what is the responsibilities, how responsibilities are divided. What is the process that is going to be followed to take the HR decision? Let's say you want to apply for a leave, you want to apply for promotion, you want to appeal for your appraisal problem. What is the process? That is called HR procedures. So these are the 5P and it is called building block of HRM system. So now moving on. So now after having this understanding of system means the interlinkages between all the HR practices and same at the same level alignment of those HRM practices with the business strategy. So now I give you few examples from where you can understand how from one sector to another sector, one company to another company, HR practices varies. So there are 2-3 levels that you need to understand before commenting on the HRM practices. So let me give you another mistake, or I will say there is a myth among most of the HR professionals. So I on the lighter note, I always say, okay, if your CHRO is asking what is the new policy which is going on, then you simply say, okay, let me check. So you simply open your laptop and you type new HRM practices these days and click, and you get some random suggestions, and you give those suggestions and modify those into your fancy words to the organization. That is called basically you have not checked the 5P of your organization. You have not checked the existing stock of HRM system and policies of your organization. I always say, if you want to change one component of your laptop or a system, and if you are going to change only one part of that, and many a times you would have seen if you approach the mechanic, what they say, sir, we don't have the original part, but we have the what you say compatible part. Which means if you are going to buy, either you buy the original part. If it is not the original part, then if you're buying a wrong component and then fixing that into your laptop or mobile phone, then whole functioning of the laptop and mobile phone can get spoiled. Similarly, in HRM system, you have set of policies, you have your unique 5P, you have your own philosophy, you have your own business model, you have your own industry level factor that influence your business, you have your own leadership philosophy, you have your own employee strength. Now, ignoring this, bringing those policies and practices which is not compatible to the existing policies of the organization, so what will happen? The whole system will collapse. So then what you say, sir, you suggested some policies or we found on XYZ or what you say source, in the XYZ source, this is the best practices, but it is not working in my organization. So it is not the problem with the component. It is not the problem with that particular policy. It is the problem with the compatibility of the new policy with the existing one. For instance, you are a family owned organization and you have a very family culture in the organization. Most of the people that you have recruited, it is through relation, employer referral, and all those things. Suddenly you hire a CHRO. CHRO is coming from very competitive industry, and he has the leadership style of, let's say, hire or fire, or he has a orientation of if something is not contributing in the business, let's say simply remove that employee, means taking the stringent decision. Why we are discussing these example, let me give you the exact example of Twitter before the acquisition, Twitter after the Twitter that has become X. Elon Musk, and you will be surprised to know, and you can Google this information also. First, they were actually not interested into acquisition, though they promised, and after that, some legal suit was happening, and before that, then Elon Musk agreed, okay, I will acquire this. And many people nowadays also say it is a forced acquisition, but that's not important. Important is what he did after that. He simply removed the whole board, including the founder of the Twitter, and he became the only board member. He fired almost 50%. So roughly 7,700 employees were in the Twitter, and he 50% employee removed, only 3,500. Then he actually brought people from his own company, Tesla, to X, which is the earlier version is Twitter. Earlier name is Twitter. Now he says, now please pay the attention to this line. He says, those who are the top performer in Tesla, they can turn around, or they can raise the performance parameter, or they can improve the performance of any company, no matter whether they have industry specific skill, they have company specific skill, no matter. So one end, he is completely saying that I have a strong belief in Tesla employees. Second end, he is saying I don't believe in existing Twitter employees. And then he is saying you have to learn from them. So now this is again orientation of the Elon Musk, and he has proved what you say that he has turned around the company. He has turned around many companies in the past, but this is his style of what you say working. So what I'm trying to say is, and there is another acquisition or you can say the merger which happens between the three major company in the travel domain. That was your Make My Trip, GoIbibo, Redbus. And none of the employees were laid off. None of the employees were laid off. Though out of these three, whosoever was offering the better employee benefit, let's say insurance, it was offered, Make My Trip was offering lesser and GoIbibo was offering more. Then GoIbibo compensation plan was followed to all the three companies. So both these acquisition, if I compare, both are the strategic decision, direct impact on the business. Both decision has been taken by the CHROs and the CEO of the company. But in both cases, the approach to deal with the problem related to the employee and the business is entirely different. And therefore, which industry you are working, which company you are working, which leadership you are working under, they actually decides the HR philosophy of the company. Otherwise, what will happen? You will suggest n number of ideas to your CHRO, and CHRO will say, okay, your idea is good, but we can't do this. Or if they want to pursue, the top management team will decline. So it's better to first understand what is my organization philosophy. Do they consider as an employee, what you say, human capital, or they are just considering as a human resource? If they are considering as, let's say, example from insurance industry, they are paying a very handsome salary to the policy advisors. But why they are facing lots of attrition? The compensation is very high and they are not getting people. You know what is the reason? They don't mind if people are leaving. So they negotiate how much salary you want. You say, okay, I want 15 lakh, 20 lakh. Okay, that's fine. Just equivalent to your compensation and some 1.5 times more than your compensation, they will give you the sales target. You achieve it, you get your salary. So you start giving your attempt. After 6 months, 7 months, maybe you have done something, and then after you leave. So human capital based company will think this approach is non-sustainable. Why non-sustainable? You are invested in training, you invested in recruitment, you invested in various processes. Someone has enrolled and after 6 months they are failed to achieve the target, then you are asking them to leave the organization. But insurance companies say, no, we are very much comfortable with this practice. Then question is how they are comfortable. The answer is because they say, if you work for 6 months, equivalent to 6 months, you have given me the business. Again, maybe you are working for 2 years. I have already taken 1 year equivalence of business based on your salary from you, which means your contribution is already there, and now you are not able to contribute more, so you can leave because you are my resources. They don't see future in you. And suppose if you are imagining a future with such an organization, then how it is possible? Because that is not my philosophy. All the credit card sellers, banking is a serious business and they do seriously. But I always say when it comes to these products, let's say insurance, journal insurance, gold coin, silver coin, demat account, and for that matter, credit card, why they hire temporary employees? Even if they are hire permanent employees, it's 100% commission or mix of salary and commission. The reason is they say you stay for two years or maybe 2 months, 6 months per month. This is my target. You achieve it and then leave. So for them, the company has already mentally prepared itself that we won't pay any attention to the attrition. Whosoever comes, they have to actually contribute, and whatever they have contributed, maybe some part of that will be given as a commission on the salary to them. They're least bothered about that attrition. So my question is, can we have this approach for all industry, all businesses, all roles? Answer is no. So let's have a 3 levels of analysis. First is called industry level analysis. Is this an industry trend? If answer is yes or no, that you have to check. Second level is company analysis. Is this the company related strategic or company philosophy, HR philosophy? Yes or no, you have to decide it is a company problem. The third problem, that is called with the particular job family. It's the nature of the job such that maybe we need people who will be considered as a capital or resources. So one example you can say, in e-commerce industry, if I take the name of Flipkart, has entirely different HR philosophy. They consider the employee first. And there are many other e-commerce companies who are considering employee as a resource. So in this case, can you say this is an industry norm? No, it's a company norm. It's a company culture. It's a company philosophy. Because industry is e-commerce. So within e-commerce, if everyone is doing this, then we can say it's an industry problem. It's a company problem. So now let's say company says that employee first. But there are many job families and department. You have a production, you have a sales, you have a supply chain, you have a R&D, you have HR, you have legal, you have IT, you have support services, you have post-sale services, so many department and job families. Many a times we have seen company saying employee first, but department says business first. Many a times department says employee first, company says customer first. So now you can see the dissonance, the incompatibility between what your company is saying, what your department is saying, what your department is saying, what the team under the department is saying, what under the team is saying, within that, what your last business manager is saying. So you can see the ripple effect. The ripple effect is you change the position from top, it will come to the department. From department, it will go to the team. From team, it will go to the individual employee and the line manager, who is the major building block in the implementation of any strategic HR decision in the organization. And that is the bottleneck in the implementation of any HR policies in the organization. Many times when I talk to CHRO, they always say, sir, we have designed the best practices, but it is not. You know why? Because they have ignored the ripple effect of the policies and the strategy. What is the ripple effect? You are changing at the top. But have you considered the differences, the nature of the department? Because if you are a production company, production department is the major department. If you are a marketing and sales company, marketing and sales is the dominance. And if you are a company like AON or Hay Group, which is HR consulting, HR is in the dominance. So therefore, we need to understand the different contribution of different department, and then we have to decide whether the policies and practices we are deciding it is compatible with the business model of all these department or not. Then we have to go to the last step in the ladder, which is called business managers. And business managers are the important role holder. Therefore, nowadays, which I always emphasize on this role is called HR business partner. Now we are saying business manager has to take care of the business. HR has to take care of the business. Now we say no. Let the business manager and HR come together, and they have to create a value for the whole organization. Then only you can. Otherwise, what will happen? Why business manager will be interested into HR issues, and why HR will be interested into customer related issues or business related issues? But both are affecting organizational goal, and therefore both have to come together. And therefore, in the strategic domain, the new role that has been created, again, this role has been understood incorrectly by most of the organization, implemented wrongly. It requires different competencies. It requires different structure, HR structure. It requires different reporting mechanism. That is part of the strategic human resource management as a domain. Then only you can say your organization is following strategic. So it is a very complex subject. I have only talked about the alignment part of HRM system, but I have not deliberately touched because it requires a detailed discussion, is how strategy will influence the HRM practices. Because at the end, the most macro level factor that influence your all levels, which I have discussed, whether it's industry, whether it's a company, or the last individuals, the job families and the individual employee. So all are influenced by the overall strategy of the firm. Are you innovative driven? Are you what you say cost leadership or cost efficiency related driven organization? So the last point in this particular discussion I would like to add is one more factor that influences, that is called organizational life stage. Are you a introduction or small company, that is a startup, or you are a mature organization, you are a growing organization, or you are a declining organization? So now the CHRO has to understand broadly at macro level two things: at what life stage you are. Second, what strategy you are following. Then he has to decide the HR philosophy of the company. From philosophy, he will go to practice. Policy. Policy to program, program to practice, and then finally the procedures and other P. So this is the overall funneling of the HR decision. This is basically the major, you can say, the competency which these days CHRO requires. Now, second theme, which it's not separate, as I mentioned earlier. Why it is not separate? Now your board member is asking, let's say you have introduced a policy that this year we want to reduce our workforce by, let's say, 10%. Then the board will definitely ask, what is the process you have followed? What is the data? And how you collected the data? Validity of those analyses, which process you have followed, and how you have calculated this particular amount which you are saying that we are going to see. Then let's say you are going for HR budgeting. You want to seek a budget enhancement this year, that I want a 10%, 20% increase in my developmental, budget. Then you have to first discuss how each and every department is contributing in the bottom line of the organization, which means the business and profitability of the firm. How you will do that? Do you have data for that? If you have a data, do you have a process to analyze it? Then second, from department, maybe all the team members have not equally contributed. So how to decide that this team is contributing this much in this particular, department? So which means all the strategic decisions which you have already decided, it will be data driven. So therefore, I always say this, that the moment you are talking about the strategic aspects of human resource management, inherently or indirectly you are saying data driven decisions. But I am not saying that you should get into the advanced analytics part, but at least as a CHRO, you should have understanding of how to do the costing part of. For example, there is a theme which recently I have developed and started teaching in my various programs, that is called HR accounting. I give you one example, then you can understand the difference between how we were taking the averages and why the wrong data presentation was done to the board. And finally, we always consider human resource management department is consuming cost. They are not adding value to the organization. And that is one of the reasons, because we don't do correctly. Let's say this year you have spent 100 rupees in training and development. Now, to calculate the ROI, what you will do, you will go to the performance management system, their score, the contribution of the department, and then you show the ROI. This is the expenditure, training cost, all those costs. This is what the typical traditional approach which many organizations are following. But in this way, what you have done. Now, my question is, as I'm mentioning, organization is basically all the organizations are nested into the all the organization has n number of departments. All these departments are equally, many a times equally, or but most of the time not equally contributing in the success of organization. So when it comes to costing part of the training, costing part of the increment, or costing part of any HR decision, why we are taking the averages? Why not we are distributing or showing this? Distribution definitely is happening based on the certain calculation, but why we are not showing this to the board? This year, out of 100 rupees, 20 rupees has been given to production, 20 rupees has been given to marketing, 35 rupees has been given to some other department, and then their performance and their contribution to the success of the organization. And there you calculate the ROI. This is only one approach. There are 100 such approaches where you can distribute this cost part. Otherwise, many a times when board says, okay, how you have distributed this budget which has allocated, they always say, sir, this 20 rupees to the training, 30 rupees to the development, 10 rupees to some and so activities, some initiatives, program engagement. But a strategic HR never, what you say, disclose all these analysis in this manner. They always have a complete data, and many organizations, because one of my student has recently concluded in her thesis on the implementation of what you say artificial intelligence in human resource management. And you know, one of the major finding which her thesis says is most of the organizations don't have data. But to implement most of the applications of AI, you need to have a data in a desired format, and that data is not there. But data, what is available? Employee strength. So many people in the name of analytics, what they do is simply divide the total revenue by total employees and then say this is revenue per employee. That is one of the indicator they use. If I ask what is your recruitment cost, total recruitment cost and number of people who have joined, they divide that, then they say this is the recruitment cost. But these are the wrong practices. Okay, you can use this. It's like a simple, like during COVID time, we used to have two types of tests. What was rapid test, second was the maze test. So rapid test, if you are what you say negative, it does not mean that you are negative. You have to go for the further test. Same, these indicators are not going to give you the exact status of the organization. These are the what you say initial analysis. For detailed analysis, we need to get deeper into the various parts of the analytics in the human resource management domain, various advanced techniques. But before getting into the advanced technique, you should understand what you will do with the data and why data is required and how that data will contribute in the success of the organization and making all the informed HR decision in the organization. And therefore, a strategic human resource manager, and especially those who are looking for a CHRO positions, this is one of the what you say major component which is required. And for this, you don't require any background in what you say stat and other this thing. You need to have a thorough understanding and the strategic knowledge of human resource management and business. That is enough. And then definitely you have a support team who can help you in the analytical part and all those things. So this is the brief about what I wanted to discuss with you all. And I think now, Pritesh, we can take few questions as well, if this thing. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Jha. I think it was an insightful session. And also, walking us through the the things which actually we miss out. And now we will, what I'll also do, I will quickly share one PPT wherein,
Hmm.
I will share the details about the program. So that everyone will be familiar with the program as well. And after that, we will initiate with the Q&A session. So allow me one quick moment. I'm just sharing my screen here. Okay, I think so. Today's session, which we had, Professor Jha has already spoke a lot of things about strategic and analytics, HR analytics. So to learn all these concepts, we have developed a program wherein Professor Jha will be teaching us about the strategic and analytics part of the program. So I'll quickly walk you through the details of the program, basic structure of the program, so that we all have an understanding about what the program is about. And after that, we will take up few questions as well. So the name of the program is Executive Development Program in Advanced Strategic HR and Analytics for HR Leaders. This is a 7 months duration program, and the eligibility for the program is minimum 7 years of work experience into HR domain after your graduation. This is the minimum eligibility of the program. That means we are only in, that means participants with 7+ years of work experience into HR and wants to enhance their skills into strategic and analytics, and to be ready for the future challenges. One should join the program. What you are going to learn in this program we'll also discuss in detail. We will also share the program brochure after we finish off this webinar. So the classes will happen live and online every Saturday 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. So this program is a combination of both online session plus campus immersion. So there will be 3 days of campus immersion as well, wherein you will be staying in XLRi Jamshedpur campus, and you will be also attending few face-to-face sessions. And the classes will happen on every Saturday, 3 to 6 p.m. These are all live sessions, interactive session, not the recorded one. And we are closing the registrations on 30th of September, and the program is scheduled to commence from November. So the total program fee is 1,77,000 rupees plus GST, and the application fee is 27,000 rupees, which is including the total program fee. Including the application fee plus GST, it is 1,77,000 rupees. Right. So apart from that, now I think we will take few questions from the participants to understand their question, their queries. Uh, so I think there are few questions which are there in the chat box on also. Will I will just kind of read it out for you, sir.
Yeah, please.
So the question we have, what we can also do is that we can unmute Purnima. Purnima has a question, and we can unmute her. And Purnima, why don't you, uh, ask your question here? I would request the backend team to please allow Purnima Sharma to, ask question. Purnima, you can, I think, unmute yourself, and also you can unmute your video if you want. We'll come back to the other details of the program as well.
Hey, hi, thanks, Pritesh. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Please go ahead, Purnima.
Thanks, Pritesh. Hi, Professor Jatinder. Hello.
We
Yeah,
can hear
yes,
you.
yes,
Sir,
Please
Purnima,
go
thank
go
ahead.
you.
ahead.
Thank you for the insightful session. So, and I have attended your, XLRi program just a year back and really got to learn a lot from your sessions, especially. So, my question is, sir, as HR professionals, the biggest challenge that we face is convincing business about the ROI that we are going to generate through the HR programs. So, sir, could you please, share some tips that we can use in our day-to-day, HR things and to, just get things done properly?
Yes, so Purnima, that's why I mentioned there is a concept which now I have introduced in the analytics, which I have done for one of the companies in the recently my in one of my in company program. is called HR accounting approach. So HR accounting approach is different from analytics. In HR accounting, we take care of the financial aspect and in particular the costing and ROI part of your HR decisions. So that is one of the major module in this particular program which I have introduced. HR accounting, and none of the the analytics courses so far which I have reviewed talks about this particular aspect, and this is where most of the HR professionals are struggling despite doing the this thing. The reason, let me just give you the, though I cannot explain everything in the short duration, but still I can give you some idea about it. Let's say if you want to calculate the ROI for your training and development only, that as I mentioned, the training and development, the traditional method is what? Your training cost, material cost, trainer fee, accommodation, man days leave, all those things you can do that. So what the approach I have taken for ROI calculation is always divide your whole costing into direct cost, indirect costs, and include the overheads. Direct cost, indirect cost, overheads. Actually, overhead is part of indirect cost. Now, depending upon from which department they have, which department people have participated in this, you actually allocate that particular costing to that department only. Let's say from production 7 people and from marketing only 2 people. So in traditional approach, what you will do for 5 plus 2, 7 people ka whatever is the cost, you will give to the top management team. But you have here not held accountable production department who have consumed more cost as compared to the marketing guy. Yes or no? Only 2 people, 5 people. So now using this accounting procedures, you will easily identify. Let's say now your board member says you have spent so many money and where is the output? So we can easily say, sir, production department has taken away. Then you will have direct call with the production department, the production head. This is what training has been given. This is the cost you are consuming. And where is the ROI? Then they will give you the ROI. This is how 5 people have contributed in value. So the moment you are taking average and then you are taking your own responsibility to present the data to the board, and that is the problem where you are, not able to answer the queries of the top management team. So this is one small example. There are so many, but approach will remain same. For everything, you divide into direct, indirect cost wherever it is possible. And we will try to find so the term which we use in this approach is called the lever of the cost. What is the lever which is changing my cost for training for this thing? So therefore, you need to be very fair. So what you can do for the time being without getting into the analytics part, get all the information and store the data in your system. As much as information you can get for all the HR decision, please store the data. Clear? Because we don't maintain the data, because we believe strongly into the averages part.
Got it, sir. Thank you for answering my question. Thank you.
Purnima, thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor. Purnima, I think, Professor Jha has explained the details. And to know more, to learn more concepts about, the strategic and analytics part and the insights about it. That is why, we have carefully developed this program, which can definitely help you and answer all your queries. So we would like to see you in the batch, which is, getting launched in the month of November. So we have, another participants from the webinar, Mr. Suraj Sharma. Suraj, you may unmute yourself and ask your question here. Meanwhile, I am also sharing you the link of our, website where you can see all the basic details and the course content about the program. And Suraj, please go ahead and unmute yourself.
I think we lost Suraj.
Okay. All right. So we have, more questions.
So I can see one question which I can answer is like why HR many times is considered as a spectator and they are not doing something. That's why I think, as I mentioned that, the origin of your field, that is human resource management, is, as a facilitator or as a personal manager to support the organization in compliances. Therefore, the name of the HR department was personal department. And our original industry is manufacturing. And of late, we have seen the rise of ITs, service, hospitality, startup, now fintech, agri-tech, and all tech-based startups. These are the new challenges. These are the new types of industry. Therefore, I always say you can become a strategic HR only if you have a sectoral analysis of human resource management. How other sectors are doing, how other business models are doing, and where you can contribute there. So it's a detailed analysis. Otherwise, what will happen? We club our all experience and say, okay, I have 10 years of experience, 20 years of it. But what you have done in those 10 years, which industry you have worked, industry difference is very important. I think in this course also, the significant, if you see the differentiating factor which I have added is, there is a module called sectoral analysis of HRM practices. So let's say how consulting firms are doing, how banking and finance is doing, how manufacturing is doing, how your other industries are doing, construction companies are doing. So this sectoral difference will give you the idea of business context. And the moment you understand the business context, you will be able to decode the logic behind the HR decision taken by the top management team. And then you will be able to see whether you are a human capital or a human resources, whether you are a puppet of top management team or you are a strategic asset of top management team.
Right.
This is what we are going to discuss in the whole course.
Correct. Sir, one program, Professor, which is coming up very frequently about the tools, techniques, and the softwares which we are going to use, in the program.
Correct.
Just
yeah. So what we can
some
do,
insights
so,
and till what extent we will be, using the tools and techniques.
so during the program, because these all licenses based softwares are there, which during their program they will be allowed to access those. Like the basic one will be the SPSS, but we are going to use many more. We will have R, we have SAS, and then for qualitative data analytics also we will use data ranging tool like Atlas, and there are many other software. And we will try to also get some, maybe the student version or free version of these software, which they can use off late also after the completion of the program. But these are the ones where XLRi has the license, and they will be allowed to access these software till the completion of the programs.
Right. Sir, will Python and Tableau will be also explored?
We can. Python, I am not sure, but Tableau definitely will be there.
All right. So this, I want to tell this to everyone in the, in the panel here. The program is not about tools and techniques. It's not only about tools and techniques. Of course, it is a part of the program. You will learn, how you can use this, and all those stuff are there in the program. But the program is not only focusing about tools and techniques, because this is a leadership, program which we are doing. So I will also quickly, sir, with your permission, I would also like to share the content of the program on the
yes, you can share, please.
Because I feel the content of the program is very interesting. Everyone should at least have a look at the course content, what we are going to teach and what you are going to learn in the program. So I'll just quickly share. It won't take much time, but I'll just quickly share the course content here. Then we'll discuss this further and take more questions here. So this is the program content. This is the course content, which will be the part of the program. So Professor Jha, I will just read out the modules of the program. I mean, because this is a very detailed course content which you have developed. And of course, everyone is, liking it. And that is the major USP of the program. So I'll just quickly read out the course content which we have developed here. So there are two parts, in this program. First, part A1 is Advanced Strategic Human Resource and Management. In this first module is about strategic context for data-driven HR decision. Then there are sub-modules, and then module number 2 is strategic HRM and sectorial analysis. Third module is strategic transformation through HR. And then we have part V, which is advanced HR analytics. In module 4, we will be covering financial aspect of HR decisions, application of costing, ROI on human capital. And then we have this sixth module. Sixth module is about ROI on employee benefit, then HR budgeting and costing concept, then HR analytics, introduction to tools and techniques, and then we have HR analytics, data visualization, then HR analytics, HR modeling, then advanced predictive HR models, HR forecasting and manpower optimization. And after that, compensation analytics is there. And the last module will be HR dashboard and report writing. Right. So this is the course content which has been developed, after a lot of research, and the program is focusing on the leadership skills and the strategic area and data-driven decisions. Right. So this is about the course content, and now I will come back to the Q&A sessions. I can still see there are a few questions which has been there in the chat box. So we can, I think, first of all, I would request my backend team to unmute Omkar Motha. I think he had some questions. He has raised his hand. So Omkar, please unmute yourself and you may go ahead with your questions. Or Amlan Jyoti Chatterjee, backend team, please unmute Amlan Jyoti Chatterjee, please. Yeah, Amlan is here. Amlan, please go ahead. Please ask your question. You need to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, Amlan. Please.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, Amlan.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Good evening, Pritish. So my question is that, in the third module, are we also covering this change management through this transformation? And my second question will be, do we also need a technical skill in SAS and Python to cover the modules, or this is just a module this is just a tool which will help to understand the analysis, or do we need a pre-experience in using these modules?
Yeah, so basically, the change management is a part of the module, the strategic transformation, because strategic transformation itself is a change. So that is there. And second part, the pre-knowledge. Knowledge in HR, I always say, is more important than knowledge in just only the technical aspects of the tools and techniques. Tools and technique is something which can be learned, or even if you are not able to learn, still someone in the organization, some resource or department will support you there. But you should be able to understand the context of HR and the data driven HR. That is more important. Rest all will be discussed in the class. No pre-requirement is required. If you have done some basic course on HR analytics from any of the institute and this thing, that is also fine. That will help you. If you have not done, that is still okay.
Thank you, sir. And your session was very insightful, sir. Regarding that repellent effect, if you can suggest any point which actually can help us.
So ripple effect is basically when from the top any changes are happening, if you have not taken the note where it will stop. So that, which means the only thing which you can do in the organization is emphasize and focus more on HR business partner culture, which means HR has to reach to the last employee through HRBP role. That is the one area where you can reduce this ripple effect and miscommunication from top. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Amlan.
Professor. So, Professor, one question which we usually get, that how much of compensation and benefits will be, covered as a part of the program? If you can just share.
Compensation, in compensation, we will discuss about the benchmarking process which is followed in the compensation. Then we will discuss about the dynamics of the compare ratio, how it is decided, the creation of the pay line, the range, pay bands creation, how it influence the organization decision, how from the pay you can encourage the employees, focus more on the incentive and the variable part as well, how it is going to influence. That is the area we are going to, because compensation is the major lever for behavioral change in the organization.
Okay. Okay. Sir, we have one question from Mr. Omkar Mutha in the chat box. He's asking, I am working in Indian Air Force as HR. So I just want to ask, will this course helps to bridge the gap between government and corporate?
Yes, he will have little challenge in terms of see, this program is a complete and advanced program, and so this program is definitely going to help him in transforming his own career as far as the learning and application of the concept is concerned with regards to his domain. So there is nothing like a government plus versus the corporate, but the concept that will be discussed, that will be definitely applicable to the public sector as well.
Okay. I have one more question from Sudha. She wants to ask, I am a HR professional and L&D professional with 17 years of work experience. Shall I go with a complete HR program first or directly go with the strategic program? I have MBA with HR as a specialization. Please suggest, sir.
So this course will definitely help her.
Okay, okay, because she has already completed,
Already done HR, and then this will be a advanced what you say capsule for her,
right,
and very suitable program.
right, because of 17 years of work experience in the industry as well.
Right.
Right, I think so that we were able to answer your query here. And so I think we have covered most of the questions here from the chat box. I can also see there are questions related to placements. Here I want to add, this program is more of a profile enhancement program. So we are only asking working executives to join the program. And the reason behind it that, we want you to learn the leadership skills of the HR domain. So there are no placements as such in this program because, this is more of a profile enhancement, skill enhancement program. And if you have that specific skill set, then I'm very sure that you can get any job you want in your, career here. Any further questions we have here? Please, you can raise your hand. Then otherwise we'll, quickly wrap up the session. If we have any questions. Okay, so we have one candidate, Shroff. So backend team, can you please unmute Shroff and Shroff? Yes, we can. I think you are in the panel now. You can unmute yourself and ask your question, please. Please unmute yourself. We can't hear you. Please unmute yourself. If you are driving, then I would suggest not to, so you can focus on your driving, Shroff. I think you can drop us your queries later on. It is not safe. It doesn't look safe. So we'll, go to the next questions if we have. There is one more question, sir. Can you tell whether 5Ms or 5Ps implementation will be more effective?
Yes, that is subject to the industry and existing status of the policies and practices. This 5P always exists in all organizations. Only we need to understand the difference between these 5P and how we are doing on those 5P. It is already there in our organization. Nothing to implement. Practices are there, policies are there, procedures are there. But as a CHRO, as a head of the organization, how you design your own 5P to transform the company, to elevate the performance of the company, that is the question. 5P are always there in any organization.
Okay.
It is the building block of HRM system.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. So I think let me quickly now, you have already answered all the questions, sir. So I'll just quickly, share the contact details so that so if you can see my screen, this is the, contact details. You can reach out to us. My contact number, my email address is here. You can write me on this email if you have any questions. We'll try to answer that. If you want to enroll for the program, you can reach out us at 850-608-5079. I repeat, 850-608-5079. My mobile number here is 9582046898. So after this webinar, we will be also sharing you the program brochure, and wherein you can see the detailed course content and other details about the program. You can always reach out to us in case you have any queries, any assistance you need. You can reach out to us on the same email address and phone number. So thank you so much, Professor Jha. I think we have already taken all the questions here. So I can see there is one more question. Can we get alumni status? And Manoj, so sorry, Manoj, we don't offer alumni status in this program, as this is a professional certification program, which is a short duration 7 months program. So there will be no alumni status offered in this program. Another question we have from Swati here is, I have 10 years of experience in MBA in HR as a specialization. Should I go with this course or PGCHRM? See, Swati, both the programs are, has a different nature. You have already completed 10 years of of your experience into HR domain in the industry, and you also have a MBA as an HR specialization. Then my recommendation is to go for a advanced level program, which is a strategic and analytics program, which we were discussing in this, because you already have a post graduation degree in HR and 10 years of experience. I
You
think
can wind up
we
your
have
now.
answered all the questions, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Professor Jha. Thank you for taking
Thank you.
out your time. And I would like to also thank all the attendees, those who have joined the session. You can reach out to our team. You can visit the website, which is there, in the chat box. You can visit the website. You will get all the details about the program. And also we will share you the program brochure after we, finish up with our webinar. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.